The great warship Death's Shadow moved through space like a giant metal beast. Its dark hull was covered in sharp spikes and glowing red lights. Inside the ship, Commander Thexvar stood 8 feet tall. His green scales caught the red light from the control panels. His yellow eyes looked at the star map in front of him. "Another victory, Commander," said his second officer, Vextar. The smaller alien bowed his head. "The Zelani people have surrendered completely. Their planet is now ours." Thexvar's mouth opened to show rows of sharp teeth. This was how the Velkari smiled. "Good. How many worlds does that make now?" 47 star systems, sir. 47 complete victories, 0 defeats." The commander walked across the metal floor. His heavy boots made loud sounds with each step. Around him, other Velkari soldiers worked at their stations. They all looked the same, tall, strong, covered in green scales. Their armor was black and red. Energy weapons hung from their belts. "The Velkari Empire grows stronger," Thexvar said. His voice was deep and rough. "We are the ultimate warriors in this galaxy. No one can stand against us." For 3,000 years, this had been true. The Velkari were born for war. Their bodies were stronger than most aliens. Their weapons could destroy cities. Their ships could break planets. When they arrived at a new world, the people there had 2 choices: surrender or die. Most chose to surrender. Thexvar looked at the wall where pictures of their victories hung: burning cities, defeated armies, alien leaders bowing before Velkari commanders. Each picture told the same story. The Velkari were the strongest. Everyone else was weak. "Sir," called out the communications officer, "we have a new report from the scout teams." "Speak," Thexvar ordered. "They have found a new system. 1 star, several planets. The 3rd planet looks interesting. It has water, air, and life." Thexvar walked over to look at the data screen. Numbers and pictures showed him everything about this new world. "What kind of life?" "A species that calls themselves humans, sir. They seem very primitive. Basic technology, simple weapons. They fight among themselves often." The commander laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. "Perfect, easy prey. What else?" "The planet has many valuable minerals, sir. Rare metals that we need for our ships and weapons. It would be a good addition to the Empire." Thexvar studied the pictures of this world called Earth. He saw blue oceans and white clouds, green land and brown mountains, cities with small buildings, ships that moved slowly through space. "How many humans live there?" he asked. "About 8 billion, sir." 8 billion? Thexvar was surprised. Most worlds they conquered had much smaller populations. That is many. But no matter. Numbers mean nothing without strength. He looked at more pictures: human soldiers carrying simple guns, human ships that looked weak and slow, human cities that had no real defenses. "Look at them," Thexvar said to his officers. "They use metal bullets instead of energy weapons. Their ships burn chemical fuel. Their cities have no shields. These humans are like children playing at war." The other Velkari laughed with him. Vextar stepped forward. "Shall I prepare the full battle fleet, Commander?" Thexvar waved his clawed hand. "No, this does not need our full strength. Take 3 scout ships and 200 warriors. That should be more than enough." "Only 3 ships, sir?" Vextar looked confused. "Sub-Commander Vextar," Thexvar's voice became serious. "In 3,000 years have we ever needed more than 3 ships to conquer a primitive world?" "No, sir." "Then why would we need more now? These humans are weak. Their technology is old. Their weapons are simple. You could conquer them with 1 ship if you wanted." Thexvar turned back to the star map. Red dots showed all the worlds the EDI, Velkari, controlled. Soon there would be 1 more red dot. Earth would become another easy victory. "Besides," he continued, "we do not want to waste time and resources on such weak prey. The sooner we finish with these humans, the sooner we can find real challenges." The commander walked to his chair and sat down. The chair was made from the bones of defeated enemies. It was a symbol of Velkari power. "Sir," said the science officer, "the humans seem to have many different groups. They fight wars against each other." "Even better," Thexvar said. A divided enemy is a weak enemy. They probably cannot work together even to defend their own world. He looked at the pictures again. Human soldiers in different uniforms, different flags, different languages. The humans could not even agree among themselves. What do their messages say? He asked. They talk about trade, sir, and peace agreements and cultural exchanges. Very boring things. Thexvar laughed again. Peace, cultural exchanges. These humans are not warriors at all. They are merchants and diplomats. No wonder. They are so weak. The communication officer raised his hand. Sir, should we send the usual surrender demand? Yes. Tell them the standard message. Surrender now and serve the Velkari Empire, or be destroyed. Give them 1 day to decide. And if they refuse, sir? Thexvar's yellow eyes glowed brighter. Then Subcommander Vextar will show them what happens to those who refuse the Velkari. As the great warship prepared to send the scout fleet to Earth, Thexvar felt satisfied. Another easy victory was coming. Another weak species would bow before Velkari might. The Empire would grow stronger. He did not know that he was making the biggest mistake in Velkari history. The humans were not what they seemed to be. They were not weak merchants and diplomats. They were something the Velkari had never faced before. Something that would change everything the Velkari believed about strength and war. But Thexvar did not know this yet. He sat in his bone chair, planning another easy conquest. The 48th victory for the Velkari Empire. He had no idea that this time would be different. Very different. In space, the 3 Velkari scout ships began their journey toward Earth. Their crews were confident and relaxed. They were going to fight primitives with simple weapons. It would be over quickly. Behind them, the great fleet waited for news of victory. Commander Thexvar expected to hear from his scouts in just a few days. A message saying the humans had surrendered. Another red dot on the star map. The ultimate warriors of the galaxy were about to meet their match. They just did not know it yet. The alarm bells rang loud across the space station New Sol. Captain Lee Dae-ho ran down the metal hallway, his boots hitting the floor hard with each step. Red warning lights flashed on the walls. Captain, called Sergeant Kim Bo-ra from the control room. 3 unknown ships just appeared at the edge of our solar system. Lee Dae-ho rushed into the room. Big screens showed the black space around Earth. 3 dark shapes moved toward them like hunting sharks. The ships were huge and covered in spikes. They looked nothing like any human ship. How big are they? Lee asked. Each one is twice the size of our biggest warship, answered Lieutenant Park Jin-soo. And Captain, they're not responding to our communication attempts. Lee stared at the screens. For his whole life, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. And it did not look friendly. Get me Colonel Park Min-seo on the emergency channel, he ordered. Now. Down on Earth, Colonel Park Min-seo was in a meeting when her phone rang. She looked at the caller and her face became serious. This was the emergency line that was only used for the worst situations. This is Park Min-seo, she answered. Colonel, this is Captain Lee on the New Sol station. We have a situation. 3 alien ships just entered our solar system. They are very large and they are not answering our calls. Colonel Park felt her heart beat faster. Alien ships, are you sure? Yes, ma'am. Nothing like this has ever been built by humans. They're moving toward Earth. I'll contact Admiral Choi right away. Keep watching them. Try to communicate. But do not attack unless they attack first. Understood, Colonel. Colonel Park hung up and immediately called Admiral Choi Jae-wook. Within minutes, emergency meetings were starting all over Earth. World leaders, military commanders, and scientists gathered in secure rooms. Dr. Kim Soo-jin was working late in her laboratory when the call came. She was one of Earth's best language experts. She studied how different cultures communicated. Dr. Kim, said the voice on the phone. This is General Huang. We need you at the command center immediately. We have first contact with an alien species. Doctor, Kim dropped her coffee cup. What did you say? Alien contact. Real aliens. We need you to help us understand their language. 20 minutes later, Dr. Kim was in the underground command center. Screens everywhere showed the 3 alien ships. Military officers and scientists filled the room. Everyone looked worried. "Dr. Kim," said Admiral Choi Jae-wook, "we've been receiving signals from those ships. We think they're trying to communicate, but we cannot understand the language." Dr. Kim sat down at a computer. "Let me hear what they're saying." The speakers played strange sounds, deep growling noises mixed with sharp clicking sounds. It did not sound like any human language. But Dr. Kim had studied many languages. She began to look for patterns. "Play it again," she said. For 2 hours, Dr. Kim worked on the alien language. Slowly, she began to understand some words. Her face became pale as she figured out what the aliens were saying. "Admiral," she said quietly, "I think I understand part of their message." "What are they saying?" Dr. Kim looked around the room. Everyone was watching her. "They're talking about conquest and extermination. They call us primitives and weak prey." The room became very quiet. "Are you sure?" Admiral Choi asked. "Yes, sir. They also mentioned something about rare minerals on our planet. I think they want to take Earth for its resources." Admiral Choi's face became hard. "So they're not here to make friends?" "No, sir. Definitely not." On the space station, Captain Lee watched the alien ships come closer. They were now close enough to see clearly. The ships were black with red lights. They looked like they were built for war. "Captain," said Lieutenant Park, "we're receiving a new transmission. It's different from before." "Put it on speakers." A deep, rough voice filled the control room. It spoke in broken human language, like it had just learned the words. "Humans of Earth," the voice said. "I am Sub-Commander Vextar of the Velkari Empire. Your world now belongs to us. You have 1 day to surrender completely. Give up all weapons. Prepare your people for service to the Empire. If you refuse, we will destroy all life on your planet. This is your only warning." The message ended. The control room was silent. Captain Lee took a deep breath. He had trained for many situations, but never this. He opened a communication channel back to the alien ships. "This is Captain Lee Dae-ho, of the Earth Defense Station New Seoul. We received your message, but I think you should know something about humans." On the Velkari ship, Sub-Commander Vextar was surprised. The human was actually responding. Usually, primitive species just screamed or begged when they received the surrender demand. "Speak, human," Vextar said. "We don't surrender, Captain," Lee said simply. "That's not what humans do. If you want our world, you'll have to fight for it." Vextar's yellow eyes went wide. In all his years of conquest, no species had ever said this. They always surrendered when they saw Velkari ships. "Human, you do not understand. We are the Velkari. We are the ultimate warriors. We have conquered 47 star systems. No one has ever defeated us." "Well," Captain Lee said calmly, "there's a first time for everything." The communication ended. Vextar stood in his command room, confused. This was not how conquests usually went. Back on Earth, Admiral Choi gathered all the military leaders for an emergency meeting. General Yang Soo-ho represented the Army. Admiral Kim Tae-young spoke for the Navy. General Moon Jae-min led the Air Force. "The situation is clear," Admiral Choi said. "These aliens want to conquer Earth. They think we're weak and primitive. They expect us to surrender without a fight." "What do we do?" asked General Yang. Admiral Choi looked around the table. "We show them they're wrong about humans. We prepare for war." "But sir," said General Moon, "their ships are much more advanced than ours. Their technology is far ahead of what we have." "That may be true," Admiral Choi replied. "But they don't know anything about humans. They've never fought our kind of war." Dr. Kim spoke up from her corner of the room. "Admiral, I've been studying their communications more. They keep talking about honor in battle and warrior strength. I think they believe war is about who has the biggest weapons and the strongest soldiers." "What are you saying, Doctor?" "I think they fight like knights in old stories, face to face, honor and strength. They probably don't understand modern human warfare. Admiral Choi nodded slowly. Interesting. What else have you learned? They seem very confident, sir. Almost arrogant. They really believe no one can beat them. Good, Admiral Choi said. Overconfident enemies make mistakes. The meeting continued for hours. Plans were made. Messages were sent to military bases around the world. Earth was preparing for its first interplanetary war. On the space station, Captain Lee watched the alien ships move closer to Earth. They were not in a hurry. They moved like they had all the time in the world. They really think this will be easy, he said to his crew. Maybe it will be, Lieutenant Park said quietly. Captain Lee shook his head. These aliens made one big mistake. What's that, sir? They think humans are like all the other species they've conquered. They think we're weak because our technology is simple. They think we'll give up because they have bigger guns. Captain Lee looked at the Earth below them. Cities with millions of people, families, children, everything humans had built over thousands of years. But they don't understand the most important thing about humans. He continued. What's that, Captain? We don't know how to quit. The alien ships kept coming. The first battle was only hours away. Earth held its breath and prepared to fight for its life. The Valkyrie thought they were hunting weak prey. They were about to learn they were very wrong. Sub-Commander Vextar stood on the bridge of his warship, angry and confused. The humans had refused to surrender. This had never happened before. In 3,000 years of conquest, every species gave up when they saw Valkyrie ships. Communications. Officer, he growled. Send another message to the humans. Tell them they have made a mistake. Give them one more chance to surrender. Yes, sir, the officer replied. But after a few minutes he looked puzzled. Sir, the humans are not responding to our calls. What do you mean? They've stopped answering, sir. All communication channels are silent. Vextar's yellow eyes glowed with anger. Fine. If they want to play games, we will show them Valkyrie power. Target their largest military base. Fire one warning shot. The Valkyrie ship's main weapon charged up. Energy crackled along the barrel. A bright beam of light shot toward Earth and hit a mountain near a human military base. The mountain exploded into dust and fire. There, Vextar said with satisfaction. Now they will see what we can do. They will beg for mercy. But the humans did not beg. Instead, something unexpected happened. Captain Nam Ki-hoon was at the military base when the mountain exploded. The ground shook like an earthquake. Rocks and dust filled the air. But instead of being scared, Captain Nam smiled. Perfect, he said to his soldiers. Now we know exactly how powerful their weapons are. Lieutenant Cho Min-ho looked at his captain with surprise. Sir, that weapon just destroyed an entire mountain. Yes, Captain Nam replied. But look where they aimed it. They hit an empty mountain. They could have hit our base and killed us all, but they didn't. Do you know what that tells us? No, sir. It tells us they're trying to scare us into surrendering. They don't want to destroy everything on Earth. They want to keep it in good condition. That gives us an advantage. Captain Nam gathered his officers around a map table. Listen carefully. These aliens fight like old-fashioned armies. They have big weapons and they expect us to meet them in open battle. But we're not going to do that. What's the plan, sir? Asked Sergeant Lee Jiwoo. We're going to fight like humans. We're going to use the planet itself as our weapon. While Captain Nam made his plans, Engineer Han So-yeon was working in her laboratory. She had been studying the energy beam that destroyed the mountain. Her computers showed her exactly how the weapon worked. Interesting, she said to herself. Very powerful but very focused. It can only hit one target at a time. Her assistant, Dr. Yoon Tai-ho, looked over her shoulder. What does that mean? It means their weapons are designed to fight other spaceships or big targets. They're not good against small, moving targets. Han So-yeon began working on new ideas. If the alien weapons were made for big targets, then humans would have to become small targets. Very small, very fast, very hard to hit. Up in space, Sub-Commander Vextar waited for the humans to surrender. 1 hour passed. Then 2 hours. Then 4 hours. "Sir," said his communications officer. "Still no response from the humans." "Impossible," Vextar roared. "Send 2 more warning shots. Destroy 2 more mountains. Show them we are serious." 2 more energy beams hit Earth. 2 more. Mountains turned to dust, but still no surrender message came. What Vextar didn't know was that the humans were very busy. All around Earth, military units were moving. But they weren't moving like the Velkari expected. Captain Nam Ki-hoon and his soldiers had left their base. They moved through forests and valleys, staying hidden from the alien ships above. They carried simple weapons and basic equipment. Nothing big or advanced that the aliens would notice. "Remember," Captain Nam told his troops, "we are not trying to destroy their ships. We cannot do that yet. We are trying to learn about them. Watch how they move. Watch how they think. Watch for weaknesses." In the city, civilian Oh Jin-woo was not a soldier. He was a teacher. But when the aliens came, he became something else. He gathered his neighbors and students. They began making simple bombs from everyday materials. "We might not have fancy weapons," Oh Jin-woo told his group, "but we know this city better than any alien ever will." Medical officer Lim Yoon-ji worked at the main hospital. When the first alien attack came, she was ready. She had prepared hidden medical stations all over the city. If people got hurt, she could help them without the aliens knowing where she was. "The aliens think we'll just stand still and let them shoot us," she told her medical team. "They're going to learn that humans never stand still." After 6 hours of waiting, Sub-Commander Vextar became very angry. "Enough games. Send down landing. Parties. We will take their cities by force." Transport ships left the Velkari warships. They carried soldiers in black armor with energy weapons. The soldiers were tall and strong. They had conquered dozens of worlds. This should be easy. The first transport landed near Captain Nam's old military base. 50 Velkari soldiers marched out expecting to find humans hiding in fear. Instead, they found nothing. The base was empty. No soldiers, no weapons, no people. Just empty buildings. "Where are they?" asked Sergeant Kethmore. "Probably running away." "In fear," replied the squad leader. "Spread out. Search the area." The Velkari soldiers walked through the empty base. Their heavy armor made loud noises on the metal floors. They carried weapons that could melt through steel. They felt confident and strong. They had no idea that 50 pairs of human eyes were watching them from the hills around the base. Captain Nam spoke quietly into his radio. "This is Wolf Leader. Targets are in the open. All units, remember the plan. We study them first." For 2 hours, the human soldiers watched the aliens. They learned how the Velkari moved, how they talked to each other, how their weapons worked, how they thought. "Look," whispered Lieutenant Cho to Captain Nam. "They only search in straight lines. They don't check behind them." "And they're very loud," added Sergeant Lee. "They don't try to be quiet at all." Captain Nam nodded. "They fight like they expect everyone to be afraid of them. They've never fought an enemy that actually wanted to fight back." As night came, the Velkari soldiers returned to their transport ship. They reported to Sub-Commander Vextar that the area was clear. "The humans are probably hiding in their cities," Vextar decided. "Tomorrow we will attack the cities directly." But the humans were not just hiding. They were preparing. Engineer Han So-yeon had finished her first new weapon. It was not advanced or powerful. It was simple and cheap, but it was designed specifically to fight Velkari technology. "Show me how it works," said General Park Sung-min Han. So-yeon picked up what looked like a simple metal tube. "Their armor is very strong against energy weapons, but I noticed something. The joints where the armor pieces connect are weaker." She fired the weapon. Instead of an energy beam, it shot a small metal dart. The dart was designed to find the weak spots in Velkari armor. "It's not fancy," Han So-yeon explained, "but it doesn't need to be. Sometimes the simplest solutions work best." All across Earth, humans were making similar preparations. They were not trying to match Velkari technology. Instead, they were using human cleverness to find ways around. The next morning, Sub-Commander Vextar sent his soldiers to attack the human city of Seoul. 100 Velkari warriors marched down the main street, expecting to find scared humans waiting to surrender. Instead, they found a city that seemed empty. But it wasn't empty. It was waiting. Oh Jinwoo watched from a hidden position as the alien soldiers walked past his school. He waited until they were exactly where he wanted them. Then he pressed a button. The explosion was not big, but it was in exactly the right place. It broke the street under the aliens' feet. Several Velkari soldiers fell into the hole. Before they could climb out, more small explosions happened all around them. The humans were attacking from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. "Contact! Contact!" the Velkari squad leader shouted into his radio. "We are under attack." "How many humans?" asked Vextar from his ship. I don't know, sir. They're everywhere, but I can't see them." This was not how wars were supposed to work. The Velkari had always fought enemies who stood in lines and faced them directly. These humans were different. They hit and ran away. They appeared and disappeared. They used the city itself as a weapon. For the first time in Velkari history, their soldiers began to retreat. Sub-Commander Vextar stared at his communication screen in shock. "Retreat? Did you say retreat?" "Sir, the humans are not fighting fair. They attack from hiding. They use tricks and traps. This is not honorable combat." Vexatar's hands shook with anger and confusion. Everything he knew about war was wrong. These humans were not weak. They were not scared. They were something the Velkari had never faced before. They were dangerous, and they were just getting started. Commander Thexavar's claws scratched deep marks into his command chair. He stared at the message from Sub-Commander Vextar with disbelief. His yellow eyes burned with anger. "Retreat?" he roared. "The Crimson Talon Battalion does not retreat. Ever!" His officers stepped back in fear. They had never seen their commander so angry. Thexavar stood up, his 8-foot frame towering over everyone else. "Prepare my ship," he ordered. "We go to Earth immediately. These humans need to learn what real Velkari warriors can do." 3 days later, the massive battleship Deathbringer arrived at Earth. It was twice the size of the scout ships. Its weapons could destroy entire cities. Behind it came 20 more warships carrying the most elite Velkari soldiers in the galaxy. Sub-Commander Vextar met Commander Thexavar in the main command room. His armor was scratched and damaged. His confidence was gone. "Commander," Vextar said, bowing his head, "I apologize for the delay in conquering this world." "Explain." Thexavar's voice was cold as space. "Sir, these humans do not fight like any enemy we have faced. They hide. They use tricks. They attack from shadows and run away. They do not stand and fight with honor." Thexavar's claws clicked on the metal table. "You let primitive humans make you retreat?" "Sir, they are not what they seem. They learn very quickly. They adapt to our tactics. They even captured some of our weapons and—" "Enough!" Thexavar slammed his fist down. "I will show you how to fight humans. We will crush them with overwhelming force. No more games." Down on Earth, Colonel Jang Hyun-woo studied the new alien ships through his telescope. He counted 21 ships total, each one bigger and more dangerous than the first. 3. They brought their best fighters, he said to his staff. "Good. Now we get to see what they're really capable of." Captain Shin Yerin looked worried. "Sir, our scouts report these new ships have much stronger weapons. Our hit-and-run tactics might not work against them." "Then we change our tactics," Colonel Jang replied. "That's what humans do best, we adapt." He pointed to the data on his screen. "Look at how their ships move. Big formations. Lots of coordination. They fight like they're used to enemies that are scared of them." "What's your plan, sir?" "We make them fight our kind of war, not their kind." In her workshop, engineer Han So-yeon was working on something new. She had studied the captured Velkari weapons for weeks. Now she understood how they worked. "Dr. Bae Jun-ho," she called to her assistant. "Come look at this." Bae Jun-ho walked over to her work table. On it was a Velkari energy rifle, but it looked different. Han So-yeon had changed many parts. "What did you do to it?" he asked. I made it better, she smiled. The Velkari design is powerful but wasteful. They use too much energy for each shot. I fixed that problem. She picked up the modified weapon and fired it at a test target. The beam was smaller but more precise, and the weapon didn't overheat like the original. Now it can fire 20 shots instead of 5 before needing to cool down, Han So-yeon explained. And it's lighter so human soldiers can carry it easier. Brilliant. How many can you make? With the captured weapons and materials, maybe 50, by tomorrow. Across the city, pilot Kang Min-young was learning to fly a captured Velkari fighter ship. The alien craft was fast and powerful, but it was built for Velkari hands and Velkari thinking. The controls are too big, she told her instructor, Captain Moon Hae-young, and they're designed for straight-line attacks. Can you make it work? I think so, but not the way they intended. Kang Min-young's eyes lit up with an idea. Their ships are fast but not agile. They're built to ram through enemy formations. But what if we use them differently? She took the fighter up for a test flight. Instead of flying in straight lines like the Velkari, she made tight turns and quick changes in direction. The ship handled better than expected. Perfect, she said over the radio. This ship is actually more capable than its builders realized. Commander Thexvar was tired of waiting. He ordered his fleet to attack all major human cities at once. This would show the humans that resistance was hopeless. All ships, he announced over the fleet communication system. Begin bombardment. Target their military bases first, then their government buildings. Leave nothing standing. 21 Velkari warships opened fire on Earth. Energy beams hit cities around the world. Buildings exploded. Fires started. Smoke filled the skies. But something was wrong. The humans were not panicking. They were not begging for mercy. Instead, they seemed to be ready. Captain Seo Taijun waited in his hidden bunker as the Velkari bombardment hit Seoul. The building above him shook and caught fire, but the bunker held. All units. He spoke into his radio. Phase 1 is complete. The aliens have shown us their attack pattern. Begin Phase 2. All around the burning city, hidden human fighters began to move. They didn't try to stop the bombardment. Instead, they used it as cover for their own attacks. While the Velkari ships were busy destroying buildings, human soldiers were moving to new positions. They carried the modified alien weapons that Han So-yeon had built. They moved through tunnels and sewers that the aliens didn't know existed. Remember, Captain Seo told his troops, we're not trying to destroy their ships, we're trying to force them to land. The Velkari bombardment continued for 2 hours. When it stopped, Commander Thexvar expected to see surrender signals from the humans. Instead, he got a surprise. Human fighters using captured Velkari ships attacked his fleet from behind. Pilot Kang Min-young led the attack, flying her stolen fighter in ways that confused the Velkari pilots. How are they flying our ships? Demanded Thexvar. Sir, reported his tactical officer, the humans seem to understand our technology better than expected. They're using our own fighters against us. Impossible, our ships have complex control systems. Yes, sir, but the humans are flying them anyway, and they're flying them differently. Thexvar watched in shock as human pilots outmaneuvered his own fighters. The humans weren't better pilots, but they used tactics the Velkari had never seen before. Sir, called the communications officer, we're receiving a message from the planet surface. Put it on speakers. A human voice filled the command deck. It was Captain Seo Taijun, Velkari Fleet. This is Captain Seo of the Earth Defense Force. You have attacked our cities and killed our people. Now you will learn why that was a mistake. Human, Thexvar replied. You cannot threaten us. We are the ultimate warriors. We have the strongest weapons. No, Captain Seo said calmly. You have the biggest weapons. There's a difference, and now we're going to show you what it is. Suddenly, explosions began happening all around the Velkari fleet, not from human ships but from small objects that seemed to appear from nowhere. What is that? Thexvar demanded. Sir, the humans are launching some kind of small missiles from hidden positions on the planet's surface. They're too small for our main guns to target, Engineer Moon Hae-young watched from her control station as her plan worked perfectly. The small missiles were not powerful enough to destroy Velkari ships, but they didn't need to be. Target their communication arrays, she ordered her team, and their sensor equipment. Make them blind and deaf. The human missiles hit their targets with perfect accuracy. Velkari ships began losing contact with each other. Their sensors stopped working properly. Their coordination fell apart. "Sir," reported the Velkari tactical officer, "we're losing communication with half the fleet. The humans are jamming our signals." Thexvar felt something he had never felt before in battle: confusion. Nothing was going according to plan. The humans were not fighting like defeated enemies, they were fighting like warriors. "All ships, land on the planet's surface," he ordered. "We will defeat them face to face." This was exactly what the humans wanted. As Velkari transport ships began landing in cities around Earth, human soldiers were ready for them. They had studied Velkari tactics for weeks. They knew how the aliens moved, how they thought, how they fought. But the Velkari still didn't understand humans at all. In Seoul, Colonel Jang Hyun-woo watched Velkari soldiers march down the main street in perfect formation. They expected the humans to either run away or charge at them directly. Instead, the humans did something the Velkari had never experienced. They worked together. While some human fighters distracted the Velkari from the front, others attacked from the sides and behind. When the Velkari turned to face one group, another group would attack from a different direction. The alien soldiers were stronger and had better armor, but they were used to fighting enemies one at a time. They didn't know how to handle attacks from multiple directions at once. "They're learning," observed Lieutenant Yoon Subin as she watched the battle. "But we're learning faster." For the first time in 3,000 years, Velkari soldiers began to fall in battle. Not because they were weak, but because they were fighting an enemy that refused to follow the rules they understood. Calm. Emperor Kethmore had ruled the Velkari Empire for 800 years. In all that time, he had never received a message like this one. He read it again, his golden eyes growing wider with each word. "The humans are winning?" he asked his council. Grand Admiral Rexthul bowed his head in shame. "Yes, Your Imperial Majesty. Commander Thexvar has requested the full Imperial Armada. The Crimson Talon Battalion is struggling." Emperor Kethmore crushed the message in his clawed hand. "Struggling? Against primitives?"
"The reports say these humans fight unlike any species we have encountered, sire. They adapt. They learn. They refuse to surrender even when defeat seems certain." The Emperor stood up from his throne. He was the largest Velkari alive, standing
10 feet tall. His armor was made from the bones of 100 defeated enemies. His crown was forged from the metal of conquered worlds. "Prepare the Imperial fleet," he commanded. "All 300 ships. I will personally oversee the destruction of these humans." "All 300, sire?" Grand Admiral Rexthul was shocked. "The full armada has never been deployed against a single world." "It has never been necessary before," the Emperor replied. "But if these humans have somehow defeated our best warriors, then we will show them the true power of the Velkari Empire." On Earth, Admiral Lee Sang-woo received the reports from his scouts in space. 300 alien warships were coming toward Earth, the largest fleet anyone had ever seen. "How long until they arrive?" he asked. 18 hours, sir," replied Captain Kim Joo-yeon. Admiral Lee looked at the faces around him. These were Earth's best military leaders. They had fought bravely against impossible odds. But 300 ships? That was more firepower than the entire human race had ever built. 18 hours, he repeated. Then we have 18 hours to prepare for the fight of our lives. General Kim Joo-yeon stepped forward. "Sir, our forces are scattered across the globe. We've been fighting for weeks. Many units are low on supplies and ammunition. But our people are still fighting, Admiral," Lee replied. "Every human on Earth knows what's at stake. This isn't just about military units anymore. This is about survival." Across the planet, humans prepared for what might be their final battle. In Seoul, mechanic Park Chan-woo worked through the night to repair damaged weapons. In New York, pilot Yu Mina practiced flying captured Velkari fighters. In London, medic Young Suho prepared field hospitals for the wounded. They all knew the odds. 300 advanced warships against a planet that had been fighting for weeks. But they also knew something the Velkari didn't understand. Humans don't give up. Engineer Han So-yan had one last idea. She gathered her team in the underground workshop where they had been modifying Velkari technology. "We can't match their firepower," she told them. "But we don't need to. We just need to survive long enough to show the galaxy something important." "What's that?" asked Dr. Bae-jun-ho. "That the Velkari can be beaten, that they're not invincible. Once other species see that, the Velkari Empire will start falling apart." She showed them her final invention. It looked like a simple radio transmitter, but it was much more than that. "This device will broadcast everything that happens in the final battle to every world in this part of the galaxy. Every species that the Velkari have conquered will see that the ultimate warriors can be defeated." "Brilliant," said Dr. Bae. "Even if we lose, we win." "We're not going to lose," Han So-yan said firmly. "We're going to show the universe what humans are really capable of." When the Imperial Armada arrived, it filled the sky around Earth. 300 warships, each one capable of destroying cities. The largest military force in galactic history, all aimed at one small blue planet. Emperor Kethmore stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Galaxy Crusher. He looked down at Earth with contempt. "Such a small world," he said. "Hard to believe it has caused us so much trouble." "Shall we begin bombardment, Your Majesty?" asked Grand Admiral Rexthul. "Not yet. First, I want to speak to these humans. I want them to understand what they face before we destroy them." A communication channel opened to Earth. Emperor Kethmore's voice boomed across every radio and television on the planet. "Humans of Earth," he announced. "I am Emperor Kethmore, ruler of the Velkari Empire. You have fought bravely, but your resistance ends now. Surrender immediately, and some of you may be allowed to live as slaves. Continue to resist, and every human in existence will be wiped out." The channel remained open, waiting for Earth's response. Admiral Lee Sang-woo stepped up to the microphone in the Global Command Center. Around him stood representatives from every nation on Earth. They had put aside all their differences to face this threat together. "Emperor Kethmore," Admiral Lee said calmly. "This is Admiral Lee Sang-woo speaking for all of humanity. We have heard your offer. And we reject it." Emperor Kethmore's eyes blazed with anger. "Reject it? You face 300 warships. You cannot possibly win." "You're probably right," Admiral Lee admitted. "Your ships are bigger. Your weapons are stronger. Your technology is more advanced. By every logical measure, you should win easily. Then why do you not surrender?" Admiral Lee smiled even though he knew the Emperor couldn't see it. "Because you made one mistake, Emperor. You forgot the most important thing about humans." "What is that?" "We're too stubborn to know when we're beaten." The communication ended. Emperor Kethmore stood in silence for a moment, then roared with rage. "Destroy them! Destroy them all!" 300 Velkari warships opened fire on Earth. At the same time. The bombardment was unlike anything in galactic history. Energy beams turned night into day. Explosions shook the planet. Cities disappeared in flashes of light. But the humans had learned from weeks of fighting. They had built deep bunkers and hidden shelters. They had spread their forces across the entire planet. They had prepared for exactly this moment. And they had one more surprise. Pilot Yu Mina led a squadron of captured Velkari fighters up from hidden bases around the world. They attacked the Imperial fleet from inside its own formation, using Velkari technology against itself. "For Earth!" she shouted over the radio as her squadron dove into battle. The Velkari pilots were confused. These ships looked like Velkari, fighters, but they moved like nothing they had ever seen. The human pilots used tactics that made no sense to Velkari thinking. "Sir," reported the Velkari fleet commander, "our own fighters are attacking us." "Those are not our pilots," Emperor Kethmore growled. "The humans are using our captured ships." "How is that possible?" Our flight systems are extremely complex. Apparently, not complex enough. The battle raged for hours. The Velkari had overwhelming firepower, but the humans had something more important, the will to fight for their home. Mechanic Park Chan-woo worked to keep damaged human fighters in the air. Medic Young Soo-ho ran through burning cities to save the wounded. Engineer Han So-yeon kept her broadcasting equipment running, making sure the entire galaxy could see the battle, and slowly, impossibly, the humans began to gain the upper hand. Not through superior weapons or technology, but through superior spirit. Every time a human fighter was shot down, two more appeared. Every time a human position was destroyed, the defenders regrouped somewhere else. The Velkari had never faced an enemy that simply refused to be defeated. Emperor Kethmore watched his reports with growing disbelief. His fleet was taking losses. His pilots were being outmaneuvered by primitives flying captured ships. His ground forces were being pushed back by humans using improvised weapons. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Sir," said Grand Admiral Rexthul, quietly, "perhaps we should consider withdrawal." "Withdrawal?" Emperor Kethmore spun around in fury. "The Velkari Empire does not withdraw. But, Your Majesty, we are losing ships. We are losing soldiers. The humans are broadcasting this battle to the entire galaxy. If we continue to struggle here..." The Emperor understood. If the greatest fleet in Velkari history couldn't defeat one primitive world, what would that do to the Empire's reputation? How many conquered worlds would rise up in rebellion? "Sir," interrupted the communications officer, "we're receiving a message from the human planet." "Put it through," the Emperor commanded. Admiral Lee's voice came through the speakers again. "Emperor Kethmore, this is Earth. We want to make you an offer." "What offer could you possibly make?" "Leave now, and we'll let you go in peace. Stay and fight, and we'll make sure the entire galaxy knows that the mighty Velkari Empire was defeated by a single planet of humans." Emperor Kethmore looked around his bridge. His officers avoided his eyes. They all knew the truth. The humans were right. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Velkari Empire was losing a war. "All ships," the Emperor said quietly, "prepare for withdrawal." "Sir?" Grand Admiral Rexthul couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You heard me, we leave, now." As the massive Velkari fleet began to retreat, Han So-yeon's broadcast